Aloha interwebs, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to bring you some WoW footage. I finally got my warrior to high enough item level to actually get into the LFR. So I started doing that, seeing as how I keep missing out on guild things, which is to say my guild's not doing anything. So it's fend for yourself in my guild. Actually, it looks like my guild is kind of disbanding. But instead of transferring the guild off the server to another server to be a little bit more productive, they have all just gone their own way. So I'm just kind of hanging out in this level 25 guild, kind of hanging onto the perks as long as I can. Maybe eventually they'll either get back together and start doing things, or somebody will transfer the guild off the server. Either way, I'm just going to kind of do whatever I can while I'm able to keep a hold of those guild perks. But anyways, so the LFR, I did a little bit of research going into this, but I didn't want to do too much. I kind of wanted to jump into it and see how I did, assuming I was going to stand in some fire or, you know, cause some kind of stupid death like that. But even though I wasn't top on the DPS chart, I didn't die stupidly, so I guess that's the one thing I can pat myself on the back for, because unfortunately, I kind of am that guy that everybody hates in the LFR. Sometimes I stand in shit, you know, and I die, and it just happens, man. LFR, what are you going to do? Somebody's got to be that guy, and sometimes it's me, but, you know, I'm not going to use the baby excuse the whole time, but right now, I've got a little baby, and when I need to go and deal with baby stuff, then just leave, stand in one place for a little while. That's me. I'm sorry right now. Sometimes I'm paying attention, and sometimes I'm not. I know that I think we're actually trying to do it right. This LFR, they're supposed to separate the bosses. So there's one kind of over here, and I don't know. I just kind of picked one and DPS'd it. Kind of looked to see where other people were DPSing and jumped in on that boss. I know the purple puddles are bad, and the spiky crystal things are bad, so I try to avoid those. Seemed to me like people were focusing on the bosses that had the two clumped up, and the one solo guy was kind of out off by himself. So I just kind of followed the herd basically, and I think in the LFR it's cool to stack them up and DPS them all at the same time, but you're really not supposed to do that. It kind of happened that way at the end of this one, and the bosses all died, so I guess wasn't that bad of a plan. Going into this guy's, I read somewhere that it was bad to tank him in the middle. So, seeing as how he just stood there in the middle for a little while before running into that pool of light, I assumed that we were going to get a tank that was just going to sit there and take it. And, you know, I know this is already too late since we're already one boss into it, but this isn't necessarily a how-to. This is just a look and see what I did when I actually had a chance to play some WoW. So I'm actually cutting out the middle of these bosses just so you can see the beginning and the end, and skip all the stuff in between. But the first boss fight was pretty straightforward in the LFR, kind of tank and spank. This guy actually has some phases, but like I said, we're going to skip kind of out of the middle section and go towards the end, so we're going to miss some of the phases. But basically it's don't stand in AoEs and stand behind the boss and DPS him. I actually saw a lot of people not moving out of his stomping AoE thing, so at first I felt like I needed to kind of at least try to do it the way that you're supposed to do the mechanics of the fight in the real setup, and not the kind of watered down version of the LFR. And I was getting out when DBM told me to get out, and kind of running back in when I felt like it was okay, but nobody else was doing that. So even though I thought I was doing the right thing, it kind of made me feel stupid since somebody else was. I guess the healers were just able to heal through that, and so since it was not that big of a deal, pretty much all the last part of the fight, I just kind of stayed on the boss, really, no matter what he did. I think the LFR in a kind of a way might make you a little bit lazier player, but I'm probably rarely going to get a chance to get in there and do the actual real versions of these things, and so I guess being a little bit lazy, I'm allowed to, because it looks like I'm going to be an LFR guy most of this expansion, just like I was the last half of Kata, which is fine, because I'm still, you know, dealing with real life stuff, new baby in the house, and still trying to find a decent, consistent job. So I only play when I can. So when I can, the LFR is always open. And since most of the people in this particular group seemed like they knew what they were doing, I just kind of followed the rest of them, and hopefully the boss died, not me. But I tried to practice the basic stuff, not standing in fire, and trying to make things a little bit easier on the healers. At least that was my plan anyway. This boss fight was actually not part of that at the other previous runs. I initially got into the LFR. I didn't even notice that there was 2 bosses down, so I actually came into this one completely blind. First boss, and it happened to be the last of the first section of the Guardians. So this is actually the first boss I ever did in the LFR, but I thought I'd show them in order at least. After you clear off all the trash on this particular platform, it's a little lag spike there. That was nice. You fight this guy, and he looks to be pretty much just a tank and spank. I know on the regular version, and I thought it was on the LFR version too, maybe some people are taking it upon themselves to do it, but there's totems you're supposed to click on that takes you into another zone, another phase where you kill ads and then come back out. You're supposed to have DPS and healers go in and kill them and then come back out and go back and forth that way. But I didn't do it, and I didn't see anybody complaining about it in the old chat box down there, so I didn't figure I was doing anything wrong. Try to stay behind the boss, not standing anything nasty, and just DPS your ass off and rotate your cooldowns, blah blah blah. I suppose if I ever did get a chance to use the real versions of this, I'd actually have to do a little bit more homework, but you know, it's probably because I wasn't doing it right. This fight seems super easy. Stand behind the boss and kill him until he falls down and gives you stuff. Fairly positive that's not exactly how you're supposed to do this fight, but again, with the minimal amount of research that I actually did, just because I didn't want to seem too noobish going into it, but I also kind of wanted to see it with fresh eyes and not do too much research. The zone seemed kind of cool, and there wasn't a lot of trash. There's just not a lot of trash pulls, and the trash isn't hard, even if there was a lot of them. But I really liked the fast-paced boss kind of thing they were doing towards the end of the Cataclysm, especially since they opened up the LFR. And when you're dealing with people in LFRs like me, stand in the fire, and you get tired of them pretty quick. It's kind of good that you just go from one boss to the next boss to the next boss and not have to worry about too much trash. See, boss died. I didn't get any loot, but hey, first time through the LFR, it was pretty fun. Thanks for stopping by the channel, interwebs. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you guys at the next video.